Welcome to Motivational Mentor. This isn't just another feel-good motivational message. This is a hard look in the mirror, the kind of message that challenges you to confront the parts of yourself you've ignored. We're not here to talk about hacks or shortcuts. We're here to get real about what it truly takes to be in the top 1%, to stop living in circles of mediocrity and finally rise above the noise. This video isn't supposed to make you comfortable. It's meant to wake up the part of you that's been sleeping through life. The war isn't with the world, or your parents, or society. The war is internal. It's between the version of you that talks about dreams and the version that actually gets to work. So many people say they want more: freedom, money, purpose, but their daily choices look exactly like the people who settle. Easy paths, small decisions, and constant comfort. But here's the raw truth. Nothing in your life will ever change until you change yourself. Not with quotes, not with reels, but with brutally honest self-reflection. That's what this is. These 10 truths will sting, but they'll shake you into action. And one more thing. While you're absorbing this message, you're also improving your English, your listening, your understanding, and your emotional response to real-world words. Stick around. Your growth starts now. Truth number 1. Most people prefer comfort over growth. Let's get this straight. Success isn't about raw talent. It's about how much discomfort you can handle. The 99% can't sit with boredom, pain, discipline, or the grind. They bail when things get tough. They choose the warm bed over the cold hustle. They escape to their phones when anxiety hits. They stay silent instead of having the tough conversations. They'll say things like, "I'll do it later," or "I deserve to rest." But later turns into never. One day becomes no day. That's comfort talking. And while it might feel good now, it's robbing your future. You say you want wealth, but your spending is out of control. You want to be fit, but you avoid the gym. You want to speak English fluently, but you won't open your mouth. Comfort has you locked in chains. The 1% operate differently. They train when they're tired. They work when they're broke. They stay the course even when everything's falling apart. They know that real success doesn't come wrapped in ease. It comes with pain, pressure, and sacrifice. They understand this. Discomfort is the price of transformation. Truth figuraturnu. The 99% wait for motivation. The 1% create discipline. Here's a lie too many believe. I'll start when I feel motivated. Newsflash. Motivation is a feeling. It's fleeting. One bad night of sleep and it vanishes. So what do most people do on those low-energy days? They hit pause. They delay. They wait for that spark again. That's why most people start with fire and quit when it fades. They launch projects and never finish. They join gyms and never show up. They chase the hype but abandon the habit because they're relying on emotions, not commitment. But the 1%, they don't care how they feel. They do it anyway. They wake up early, even when it hurts. They hit the gym. They grind through their side hustle after a full day of work. Not because they're inspired, but because they said they would. That's what discipline is. Showing up for your goals when no one's watching. Discipline is the deepest form of self-respect. It means taking control of the only thing you truly own, your actions. The more you give into feelings, the more powerless you become. The more you stick to your plan, the more unstoppable you get. Truth number 3, most people talk. The 1% act. This truth cuts deep. Look around and you'll see people constantly talking about what they're going to do. I'm working on something big. Next year I'll get serious. But most of the time it's just smoke. Talking about a goal gives a fake sense of accomplishment. It feels like movement, but it's just noise. The 1% don't need to talk. They move. They don't post their progress. They live it. They don't wait for validation. They build in silence and let the results speak. Think of a race. One runner is bragging at the start line. The other's head down, focused. Bet on the quiet one. Always. If you feel stuck, ask yourself, are you actually moving forward or just talking about moving forward? Stop performing for people. Start building something they can't ignore. Truth number 4, the majority fear judgment, the top 1% fear regret. Most people shape their lives around fear. Fear of judgment, of failure, of being misunderstood. They wear masks to fit in. They downplay their dreams to stay accepted. But deep inside, they're slowly dying. Because playing it safe comes at the cost of never becoming who you're meant to be. The 1% fear something bigger than judgment. They fear looking back and realizing they never tried. They fear dying with potential still locked inside. They're not fearless. They're just brave enough to face what matters. You can be misunderstood for a while, or you can be irrelevant forever. Which pain do you want to live with? The sting of criticism today, or the weight of regret tomorrow? Truth number 5, the weak are ruled by their mind. The strong rule it. Here's the battleground. Your own thoughts. Most people don't control their mind. Their mind controls them. It feeds them fear, doubt, excuses, and they believe every word. They never question it. They let their worst thoughts become their identity. But the 1% know how to take their thoughts captive. They train their mind daily, like a muscle. They observe their mental patterns. They challenge the lies. They overwrite fear with facts. They replace excuses with execution. They don't allow the mind to run on autopilot. They program it intentionally. Because here's the truth. Your thoughts are not always facts, and your mind is either your greatest asset or your most dangerous enemy. Truth number 6, most people want fast results. The 1% are committed to the process. We live in a culture addicted to speed. Everyone wants overnight success. They want the money without the grind, the body without the discipline, the followers without the value. And the minute progress is slow, they quit. But the 1% know real results take time. They're in it for the long haul, not the Instagram moment. They don't get discouraged by silence. They stay consistent. They trust the process. Think of bamboo. It grows underground for years before it shoots up overnight. Just because you don't see growth doesn't mean it isn't happening. Mastery isn't sexy. It's boring, repetitive, and invisible until it becomes undeniable. If you quit too soon, you'll never see the breakthrough. The process is the reward. Fall in love with it. Truth, number 7, because the 99% chase validation, but the 1% chase growth. Let's be real, most people are obsessed with being seen, liked, approved, and applauded. They don't want to grow in silence. They want instant recognition. They chase compliments instead of character. They post their progress, not because they want to inspire others, but because they want validation that they're doing enough. But the truth is, validation is a drug. And like every drug, it gives you a high but leaves you empty. You get addicted to likes, comments, and followers. You start creating not from purpose but from pressure. You measure your worth by how others react to you. And if they don't clap, you stop, you shrink. But the 1% are different. They don't care if you're watching. They don't need praise to perform. Their drive is internal. They grow when no one is clapping. They evolve in silence. They understand that external validation is temporary, But internal evolution is forever. The 1% post results, not promises. They share value, not vanity, because they're not trying to be seen, they're trying to become. So ask yourself, do you want to impress people today, or do you want to inspire them tomorrow by who you actually are? Truth numbers shade because the 99% avoid boredom, but the 1% turn boredom into power. Here's something no one tells you. The path to mastery is repetitive. It's boring. And that's why most people never succeed. They think success is exciting every day. They think chasing their dream will feel like a movie, but in reality, it feels like waking up early, doing the same work, making tiny progress, and not seeing immediate results. It's mundane, it's silent, it's unseen. And that's where the 99% give up. They say, I'm bored. They crave novelty. They jump to a new idea, a new goal, a new distraction, never sticking to one thing long enough to build greatness. But the 1%, they do the boring work like it's sacred. They know boredom is a test. If you can stay consistent when it's boring, you're already beating 99% of people. Because success is built through thousands of dull, disciplined days. It's not adrenaline, it's endurance. Think of a boxer training alone in a dusty gym, punching the same bag every day. He's not bored, he's building something. He knows the glory comes later. So if you want to succeed, fall in love with repetition, because boredom isn't the enemy of growth, it's the doorway. Truth number 9, because the 99% waste time, but the 1% weaponize it. Time is the most brutal truth of all, because once it's gone forever. And yet most people treat time like it's unlimited. They scroll for hours, procrastinate for days, waste years waiting for the right moment. They don't value time because they don't value themselves. But ask any 80-year-old what they'd give to get just 5 more years, and you'll understand how precious time really is. The 1% live differently. They treat time like a weapon. Every hour is a blade they sharpen. They don't let it slip. They manage minutes the way others manage money. They know how to say no to parties, distractions, meaningless meetings, and people who waste their energy. They build schedules, routines, and environments that protect their time because they understand how you use your time is how you build your life. You want to see someone's future? Look at how they use their free hours. The 99% waste them. The 1% build empires with them. So stop acting like you'll live forever. You won't. Time is slipping. What are you doing with it? Truth number 10, because the 99% need permission, but the 1% give it to themselves. This is one of the most paralyzing truths, and yet hardly anyone talks about it. Most people are secretly waiting for someone to come save them. A mentor, a partner, a lucky break, a perfect opportunity. They're waiting for a signal, for permission, for validation from the outside world that says, now you're ready. But that moment rarely comes. And even when it does, they don't feel ready, so they still hesitate. Years go by. Potential stays locked inside. Dreams decay in the waiting room of someday. The 99% operate on approval. They wait to be chosen. They wait for someone to say, you're good enough now. And if no one says it, they stay small. They stay stuck. And they convince themselves that playing it safe is being responsible. But in reality, it's fear dressed as logic. The 1% think differently. They don't wait to be chosen. They choose themselves. They don't wait for permission. They give it. They launch when it's messy. They start before they're ready. They speak up when it's uncomfortable. They act before they're qualified. Because they understand something powerful. No one is coming to hand them greatness. They have to claim it, earn it, Become it. You don't need someone to tell you you're ready. You need to start acting like you are. You don't need a perfect plan. You need to move. You don't need permission to live the life you were born for. You just need courage. The top 1% aren't the ones who were given the green light. They're the ones who built the road themselves. So stop waiting. The clock is ticking. The world isn't going to slow down for you. Decide, declare, begin. The future belongs to the bold. Be bold enough to give yourself permission. If you're still watching, you're not ordinary. You're one of the rare few who's ready to rise. So don't let this message fade. Act on it. Share this with someone who needs a wake-up call. Drop a comment below and let us know which truth hit you hardest. And remember, success isn't reserved for the lucky, it's earned by the relentless. This is Motivational Mentor. I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay sharp, stay unstoppable.